unfolded with a humdrum rhythm of suburban life. Edith Thompson, a vivacious woman of 27, moved through her days with a restless energy that belied her ordinary surroundings. She was no typical housewife. By day, she worked as a buyer for Carlton and Pryor, a wholesale milliners in the city, her sharp mind navigating accounts and fashion trends with ease. By night, she returned to 41, Kensington Gardens, a modest home she shared with her husband, Percy, a shipping clerk whose predictable demeanor seemed to stifle her vibrant spirit. Their marriage, once a hopeful union in 1916, had grown stale, marked by Percy's occasional temper and Edith's yearning for something more. Edith was a reader, a dreamer, her imagination fed by novels and the flickering romance of cinema screens. She longed for adventure, for passion, qualities she found lacking in Percy's steady, if uninspired, presence. Her world shifted in June 1921, when Bywaters, an 18-year-old merchant seaman, re-entered her life. Freddie, as she called him, had known her family since childhood, a schoolmate of her younger brother. Now, hardened by years at sea, he carried an air of reckless charm and stories of distant ports that set Edith's heart alight. When Percy, oblivious of the spark, invited Freddie to join them for a holiday on the Isle of Wight, the stage was set for a dangerous entanglement. That summer, under the guise of carefree days with Edith's sister Avis and Percy, Edith and Freddie's connection deepened. Stolen glances over picnic baskets and whispered conversations by the shore ignited a furtive romance. Freddie, impulsive and ardent, was everything Percy was not. To Edith, he was the embodiment of her literary heroes, a figure of raw, unbridled desire. When they returned to Ilford, Percy, still unsuspecting, offered Freddie a room in their home. For a few weeks, the three coexisted in a tense, unspoken triangle until Percy's jealousy flared. An argument erupted in Percy, in a rare burst of violence, threw Edith across the room, leaving her bruised. Freddie left the house, but the damage was done. Edith's heart belonged to him. Separated by Freddie's voyages, Edith poured her longing into letters. Over the next year, she wrote more than 60, each a tapestry of love, frustration, and fantasy. Her words danced between the mundane, accounts of dinner parties or new dresses, and profound, her pen confessing desires she dared not speak aloud. She wrote of her revulsion toward Percy, her dreams of escape, and, in moments of reckless imagination, hinted at darker solutions. He says the tea tastes bitter, as if something's been put in it, she wrote once, her words steeped in the melodrama of the novel she devoured. I think whatever I try, it'll still taste bitter. To Freddie, these letters were treasures, kept close as he sailed across oceans. To Edith, they were a lifeline, a way to live the life she craved through ink and paper. By October 1922, the tension had reached a breaking point. Freddie, now 20, was back in London, his love for Edith undimmed. On the evening of October 3rd, Edith and Percy attended a play at the Criterion Theater, a rare outing that masked the strain between them. As they walked home along Belgrave Road, a wide, well-lit street, Freddie emerged from the shadows. Without warning, he lunged at Percy, plunging a knife into his chest. Percy staggered, blood staining his coat, and collapsed. Edith screamed, "No, don't," her voice echoing through the night. Passers-by rushed to help, but Percy was dead before help arrived. Edith, hysterical, was taken to the police station, her gray crepe dress still bearing the faint scent of theater. The police arrested Freddie the next day at Edith's parents' home in Manor Park. In his possession were her letters, a damning collection that would seal their fate. The investigation uncovered a scandal that captivated the nation. The Ilford murder, as it became known, was a sensation. Its details splashed across newspapers. Edith, portrayed as a seductive older woman, was accused of inciting Freddie, a supposedly innocent youth, to kill her husband. Her letters, read aloud in court, shocked the public with their candor. References to sex, abortion, and vague suggestions of poison or glass in Percy's food painted her as a femme fatale. Freddie, ever loyal, insisted he acted alone, claiming Edith knew nothing of his plan. But the prosecution argued common purpose, asserting that her words, however fantastical, made her equally guilty. The trial began on December 6, 1922, at the Old Bailey, before Mr. Justice Shearman, a stern Victorian whose notes revealed his disdain for Edith's unwholesome nonsense. Crowds queued from dawn for a glimpse of the drama, some selling their spots for £5. Sir Henry Curtis Bennet, Edith's counsel, argued that her letters were literary exaggerations, not instructions. But the jury, swayed by the judge's bias and the era's moral outrage, saw her as a woman who defied her place, an independent, working-class wife who loved too fiercely was a threat to the social order. On December 11th, both were found guilty. The verdict sparked a petition with nearly 1 million signatures, mostly for Freddie, seen as a chivalrous figure protecting his lover. Edith, the cougar seductress, found little sympathy. In Holloway prison, Edith unraveled. The prospect of the gallows shattered her composure. She spent her final days in near hysteria, unable to eat, her cries echoing through the stone corridors. On January 9th, 1923, at 9 a.m., she was carried to the gallows, heavily sedated, barely conscious. Half a mile away, in Pentonville Prison, Freddie faced his end with stoic resolve, his last thoughts of saving Edith in vain. Their executions, simultaneous and brutal, marked the end of a love that had burned too brightly for the world to contain. The nation was divided. No woman had been hanged in Britain since 1907, and Edith's fate reignited debates about capital punishment. Her letters, once her undoing, became her legacy. Scholars like Renee Weiss later championed her innocence, arguing she was a victim of misogyny and a justice system that punished her for her words, not her actions. In 2018, Edith's body was exhumed from Holloway's unmarked grave and reburied with her parents in the City of London crematorium, fulfilling her mother's dying wish. In 2023, the Criminal Cases Review Commission agreed to re-examine her case, a belated nod to a possible miscarriage of justice. Edith Thompson was no murderer, but a woman trapped by her time. Her letters, now seen as minor literary gems, reveal a mind alive with passion and intellect, yearning for freedom in a world that demanded conformity. She wrote of novels, of London theaters, of a love that consumed her. "When shall we meet again?" she asked Freddie in a 1922 waltz-like plea, unaware that their next meeting would be an eternity. The Ilford murder was not just a crime, but a mirror held to society that feared women who dared to dream. Edith's story, etched in those 70 letters, endures as a haunting testament to love's power and its peril.